this past weekend, Book was out looking at some track and field and kind of got tied in with the Noah Lyles shenanigans when it comes to him taking issue with the fact that the NBA champions are often referred to as quote unquote world champions, right? And he didn't particularly love that term just because the NBA is something that's mostly in the US. Obviously, you still have Canada involved, and there are a lot of international players, but it's not a world competition like it is with the Olympics. And so Devin was asked by The Athletic about this situation. Okay. And here's what Devin said. He said, I still don't agree with the comment. I feel like all the best talent in the world is in the NBA. And this is coming from an Olympic gold medalist who believes that being an NBA champion is probably harder to do. So before we dive into that, he also went on to say, as far as the statement that Noah Lyles said, the statement was said, I think how it was said, it was just out of context. I feel like it was something that was weighing on his heart for a long time. He's gained a following since then. He held it down, though, so congrats to him. Obviously, he did win, so that's big. First, before we dive into the Olympic gold medal being harder or easier than an NBA championship, how do you feel about the way that the NBA and oftentimes other leagues across the U.S. do refer to themselves as world champions?
I see both sides of this, honestly, but I do think we are the only country that does this type of thing, where I think there's no doubt in my mind that like the NBA is the collection of the world's best basketball talent. It is the best in the world in terms of the players there, and it is more international now than it has been in years past. So there is something to the fact that you are playing basically the best players from around the world. With that being said, winning an NBA championship and calling yourself world champions is something that America only specifically does. Like,
damn straight.
You're technically speaking, if you are not like Team USA competing against other countries, then that's not world champions. That's the best in the world because you're in the best league in the world. But saying that, you're world champions because you win an NBA championship, we're the only country that does that. And so I see why NBA players took umbrage with it, why they took issue with it. And yeah, I think we would all agree the best NBA team in a given season, maybe in the best 5 to 10 to 15, would beat any team from any league around the world. That's not disputed here. But it is interesting to me that people have kind of ganged up on Noah Lyles just because he's a little bit corny, when Greg Popovich said the same thing back in 2010, like saying being the NBA champion does not make you the champion of the world in that title. You're probably the best in the world, yeah, but strictly speaking, world champions, it's not the same thing.
Okay, so NBA, I get what you're saying. The one that bothers me the most is that baseball has
totally
has the cojones to sit there and tell you, for the last 100 years, it's the World Series. No, it's not the World Series. Yeah. Right. No, you can't have the World Baseball Classic and tell me that's what we're competing for, and then tell me you got the World Series over here as well. No, all right? No, that is not correct. I get that you're playing against most of the best talent in the world in the NBA, and I understand that you could feel like you're the best in the world, and maybe if they called themselves the best in the world, that probably just maybe a little bit better than world champion. I think it's a dumb nomenclature thing that started way before anybody was thinking beyond the United States in terms of that, but. I mean, the NFL probably is the only one that can say world champions because most other countries don't play football.
Canada does, buddy. One country.
Canada does not play American football. They play CFL, which is a bunch of a bastardized version of American football. That's not football.
Football is football.
No.
So just for some context here, I did look. So the NBA, we're going to call it roughly 550 players total each season, and that includes two-ways, 10-day contracts, and things of that nature. So I think since two-ways were implemented, it went anywhere from like 520 all the way up to like 565-ish or something players over the season. So we're going to go with roughly 550 just for an easy number. At the start of last season, so on opening night, there were 125 international players from 40 different countries on rosters, which is roughly 22.7%. When we look at the MLB on opening day this year, they had 264 international players from 19 countries and territories, and that was roughly 27.8% of all the players in the MLB. So you are getting a substantial number of international players in these leagues. And with the NBA specifically, that has been an initiative of theirs over the last decade at the very least, to encourage the growth of basketball in other countries and to continue to keep track of and uplift international-born players who are playing in the NBA. So you do have probably the greatest basketball players of all these other countries that are represented in the league playing here in this league.
You do, but again, that's like 1/5 of the league.
It is. It's not. Like it's not as substantial.
Still a small percentage, and again, I get it, but it's a technical thing for me. Like it just is.